Hi, I'm Michelle Sakurka. The New Jersey Business and Industry Association is committed to educating the public about the important issues impacting New Jersey's businesses and economy. That's why we're proud to support the important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. RWJ Barnabas Health, Johnson & Johnson, Verizon, and by the law firm of Gibbons PC. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by Meadowlands Regional Chamber, building essential connections that drive business growth.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this.
You
got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
So I had just come out of a federal prison, and one of the counselors says, "Do you have clothes for interviewing?" I said, "I just got home. I got to start getting it together." She goes, "I'm going to send you to some place." And the women there are very nice.
When I went in for my suiting, it was amazing. Like, they just really took the time to really kind of understand my body type, what I wanted, what it was for.
You just feel the confidence. Like, you know, there's something about just wearing clothing that makes you feel good.
When I left there, I just felt like I got this job. And I did.
That's great stuff. It's an organization called Dress for Success Worldwide, and Joi Gordon is the CEO. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Such important work.
It's been amazing work for the last 20 years to see this organization grow from a basement of a church here in New York City to now 150 offices in 23 countries, serving over 1 million women. It's extremely wonderful.
Dress for Success was created when?
1997 by a young woman at law school at NYU. Got an inheritance from her great-grandfather for $5,000.
And you started volunteering.
I did.
You were a lawyer.
I was a lawyer here in New York and really wanted to donate a suit and then donate my time. And then I just fell head over heels in love with the mission of this organization and realized I needed to make a difference, not only in my life, but in other women's lives.
What helped you?
Just the mission, the simplicity of helping women look and feel good and knowing what that felt like for me being in the courtroom wearing a suit every day, how I felt powerful and how that suit could transfer power to another woman.
Talk about some of the women. You know what? I was going to say the kind of women. That's ridiculous. All kinds of women, right?
All sorts of women walk through the door dressed for success. Like any woman who needs a job, who wants to take care of herself and her family, they come to our organization and they just need support. And that's what this organization does. It gives the woman the support she needs when she needs it.
So a woman comes in. By the way, how does she know how to find you?
Well,
you find her, she find you.
Well, no, we find her and she finds us, but we work with thousands of nonprofit job training agencies around the world. And so women are in training programs, and once they complete their program, it's the agency that refers her to us because she has an interview. So we know where she's going, we know what sort of position she's interviewing for, we know her size, and she walks into a upscale boutique-like environment where we treat her with dignity and respect, and we help her get ready for her interview, probably the most important interview of her life. That's what we help her get ready for.
Clothes come from?
From myself, other women's closets, major manufacturers, retailers, stores, all sorts of doors deliver clothes to Dress for Success because they really do believe in the mission of this organization.
So my wife and so many others, let's just say, who've been blessed, they're fortunate. We are fortunate. They want to help. They do what? They go on your website and get rid of my chyron there, go to the website, and what do? Like, we happen to be in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
No matter where people are watching, tri-state area.
We have
what do?
5 Dress for Successes in New Jersey. So it's really go to the website, find the Dress for Success closest to you, and go directly to the local Dress for Success. Whether you mail in your package or you deliver it yourself, we're there with open arms. We need suits from women's closets, business separates, coats, shoes, handbags, everything to make her feel and look dressed for success.
Talk about some of the success stories with some of the women that you've come in contact with and you've seen it that actually changed their lives.
Well, our success, although the suiting component is important in Dress for Success, it's so much more than clothes. And so it's the work that we do beyond the suit. It's the helping her with her resume, doing the mock interviews, giving her financial literacy and health and wellness courses, teaching her what it means to be a leader, teaching her what it means to give back in her community. And so it's just taking her step by step through the process of becoming a professional woman in today's working environment and giving her the tools she needs to succeed.
It's so interesting. I often use the term executive presence in some of the coaching I do. I do coaching around leadership and communication outside of my broadcast work, and I use the term executive presence. People say, what do you mean by that? I say, well, you know it when you see it, and you know it when you don't. You know what it is because you've lived it in your professional life. Is that not the right term to be using in terms of what it is you're helping women to have, executive presence?
Absolutely. I mean, how you show up is important. And so you always hear, you never get a second chance on a first impression, but how you show up in your space is important, how people see you, and what people see your potential to be. And so we want women to walk the walk and dress like a boss. Because if that's your aspiration, is to do great things, we want you to look the part and feel the part and give women the tools they need to succeed. And that's what Dress for Success is really all about.
Beautiful. You have a new what's the campaign called, Jackie? The Open Door Project.
Our Open Door Project. Well, this is all about gratitude, and it's about, women get to a certain place in their career, and none of us got here alone. So we want to know who opened the door for you. And I want you to thank her. I want you to step back and realize who opened that door for you. Hashtag Open Door Project. Take a picture of your shoe in the door.
So what happens?
It's that simple. You take a picture of your foot in the door and you say, thank you to XYZ for opening the door for me. And with a $20 donation symbolizing 20 years at Dress for Success, you can open the door for someone else. And we hope that that viral campaign through social media lives on and someone else recognizes that someone else opened the door for me.
Finally, what do you see for the future of the organization?
Well, continued growth. Again, this started in New York City 20 years ago, a basement of a church. Today, 150 cities, 23 countries, we have more room to grow. And I'm hopeful that we will shape and change women's lives forever.
Final question. As a student of leadership myself, I ask every great leader who comes in here, what's the number one leadership lesson they have learned without any prompting? What's the number one leadership lesson you've learned?
I lead from my heart. I'm compassionate, I'm caring, I'm committed, and I'm purposeful in how I treat people, and people treat me the same way back.
Joi, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Stay with us from the Tisch WNET studio here in Lincoln Center. Thank you.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We're pleased to welcome Whitney Donhauser, who is President and Director of Museum of the City of New York. Good to see you.
Great, thank you for having me.
This is a museum that is based over 103rd and 5th Avenue?
That's correct.
Founded in 1923, correct?
Yes.
Describe the museum.
It is a museum that is in a very traditional building, but we deal with issues that relate to modern and contemporary New York life. So we interpret and celebrate the city and really share with our public what is great about the city as far as its diversity, as well as its perpetual transformation and the challenges it faces.
Why do you think a certain number of New Yorkers and those around New York don't know enough about the museum?
I think we often, people confuse us with New York Historical Society, and I think also our location has made us, for many New Yorkers, something that they have not spent a lot of time on that part of Fifth Avenue. So I think we've been under construction for the last 10 years. And
10 years?
10 years. We completed construction in 2015, and the building is completely renovated and really, really beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
But you also look at the future.
We do.
Explain that.
So, well, we just opened in November an exhibition on 400 years of New York City history, which is actually amazing that there is no place in a museum in this city that actually looks at the city's history. And there is a tradition around the world of city museums. So you can go to Mumbai, Singapore, Paris, London. So there's a tradition, certainly in major urban centers, of a city museum. But the thing that we actually do that's unique is in our overview of New York City history, we have over a third of our gallery space is dedicated to the future of the city and really urban issues that New Yorkers face every day.
Such as?
So the challenge of affordability, affordable housing, the challenge of climate change, rising sea levels, the challenge of earning a living, the challenge of diversity, people living together. And so this is something that challenges of transportation too. And these are the issues that we cover in that gallery and ask our visitors to express what's on their mind. We have a question, we have a table where we ask what if, and they can answer that question, pose that question to a series of experts. So what if, all vehicular traffic was eliminated from the island of Manhattan.
As we look behind us here
exactly.
on Broadway
exactly.
and 66th.
And then we take those what-if questions posed by our visitor and then put them up on our website and have experts answer those questions.
But what also is fascinating about it, someone says, really, that's what a museum does? You look at questions that deal with, I don't want to say political questions, but relations with the Muslim community.
Right.
Such as?
Right. So in our overview of New York at its core, we show that the first Muslim immigrant was in the mid-17th century who was a property owner. And we have this on our map showing the diversity, because our premise is that what makes uniquely the city, New York, the city that it is money, diversity, density, and creativity.
Do it again. Money,
diversity, density, and creativity.
Is that the...
Well, so then when on a national level, when the Muslim ban was actually in the national news, our staff came together and said, how can we react to what's happening? And within 2 weeks' time, we put together an exhibition called Muslim in New York. And one of the great things is, really, museums often spend a lot of time putting together exhibitions, and rightfully so, adding a lot of scholarship and putting a lot of resources behind it. But we knew we needed to react quickly, and so we took images from our collection. And some of these images came into the museum's collection in the 1940s that were acquired by us that show everyday Muslim life in New York City. So we have some great images of Muslims in the 1940s, and we also have images that we had collected in, as recently as 2 or 3 years ago, and even are currently collecting. And so we put them up on the wall just to really celebrate the richness of immigrants in New York, and particularly the Muslim community here.
What kind of reaction?
It's been fantastic. So we've gotten a tremendous response in the press. What also is incredibly moving is to see members of the Muslim community coming out and actually seeing these images of their community on the walls of the gallery.
I'm curious about something. In the digital age in which we live, with so many people believing that they can find out what it is they need or want to find out about the world
right
in the palm of their hand, the place for museums is?
It becomes a space where people can come to look at objects and to think about their history and in relationship to what's happening current world. I think that we are a repository of objects, of important objects, beautiful objects, as historical objects. And that ability to come together to share with your friends or your family or school students to come and look at them as a field trip, and to be able to have that experience one-on-one and have experts actually that are trusted scholarly experts who can tell you a story and explain a complicated situation in a simple and understandable way, and allow you to reflect on that, I think is really powerful. So, and it's being able to get out and about in the city rather than, we all spend a lot of time on our mobile devices, but that's a very solitary experience, and you don't hear the collective voices coming together in that.
Experience.
There's no communal.
For those who advocate for cuts,
Right.
government cuts,
Yeah.
in programs that support the arts,
Yep.
particularly smaller operations that rely on government funding, you say?
Right.
For the humanities, et cetera, et cetera.
It's imperative. The National Endowment for the Arts and the National Humanities have given us such a vital validation of the work that we do. We've received over $1 million in the last 5 years, and that $1 million, while compared to overall their national budget is relatively small, that means so much for us because then it enables us to go out to other funders. When those organizations have put their stamp on it and their credibility, it shows that those projects have the substance and the depth to them for others to support too. So without that, we would really be at a loss. And certainly New York at its core, our exhibition received a $400,000 grant from the National Endowment of the Humanities, and we were very, very grateful for that gift.
We encourage people, Whitney, to go to 103rd and 5th.
Right, great.
To the Museum of the City of New York. And I want to thank you for joining us here on Public Television.
Thank you.
Well done.
Great.
We'll be right back right after
Excellent.
this.
Great.
Thank you very
To
much.
see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
It's a very big responsibility to be in this program. To be able to really memorize and connect with the character, that takes a lot of practice and a lot of time.
The fact that I came from another country, so it's a difficult journey. Every day, reading about it and trying to understand him more, understand my character and how to portray him.
Our instructor, he really took me through it, and he pushed me to my emotional limit.
One time, actually, I was performing it and I cried and I walked out.
There was a lot of tears in that class.
It wasn't tears of anger, it was tears of joy for relief and finally doing something that I thought I couldn't do.
That's a program called LEAP, and Michael Perreca is the artistic director of theater programs. LEAP stands for?
Learning Through an Expanded Arts Program.
Describe it.
Well, Learning Through an Expanded Arts Program, or LEAP, has been around for 39 years, and we have programs in 160 to 200 schools throughout New York City. I'm the artistic director of the theater programs, so we have a performance-based program called the August Wilson Program, where kids are immersed in the astounding work of August Wilson, playwright, and then Leap on Stage, which is a playwriting program where 10 schools are involved in immersing themselves in the playwriting process. A winner from each one of those schools gets published by Samuel French and performed off-Broadway. So the August Wilson monologue competition culminates on Broadway, Leap on Stage culminates off-Broadway, and it's students' work. It's pretty
What
amazing.
does it do for these young people?
Well, the monologue competition really enhances public speaking confidence. You saw, we were just talking about English language learners. Students where English wasn't even their first language, and they're interpreting these August Wilson characters. It's amazing. They're embodying these remarkable, beautifully written, deep characters.
Sorry for interrupting. Give us a couple of examples for those who don't know the great work of the great August Wilson. Give us a couple of examples.
Well, this is a great year for August Wilson because Fences is nominated for an Academy Award this year. Viola Davis won an Academy Award.
Did she make a speech?
I'm sorry. She made the speech of the year and was really remarkable. So August Wilson's 10 plays reflect the African-American experience in the decades from 1900 to 1999. So Fences is one of those plays. It became a feature film. And then on Broadway, we had a really successful revival of Jitney.
We had the folks from Jitney here.
I know, and they were remarkable, and they're really, really great people.
Brendan Dearden was here.
Brendan, right, and he got to talk to our kids after the show.
What was that like?
They were blown away. So they come down from the mezzanine, and they're standing in, and Ruben, the director, is there as well. So there they are, the stars and the director, and they're standing in the theater, and they're talking about the process. And our students, many of them have never even seen live performance before or knew what a play was before they were involved in memorizing these monologues. And there they are in a Broadway theater talking to these actors. And when at intermission of Jitney, when the lights came down and then the house lights came up, they said, "It's so real." Yeah. So and then they're playing these characters themselves. It's a remarkable experience.
By the way, when I think about Brandon Dearden, I remember he was here. Georgette helped me on this when he played in Was It All the Way? He played Dr. King with Bryan Cranston in it as LBJ. An extraordinary.
Extraordinary actor.
So with those kids, my God, what an incredible role model and just that connection. Just powerful.
Yeah, you know, I think we forget because we grew up exposed to live performance in every aspect of our lives as we were going through our educational process. Some of them have never even seen a full-length play before.
Yeah.
So they're actually, the 10 schools that are involved in the monologue experience are embodying those characters. The 10 schools that are involved in Leap on Stage are immersed in the playwriting process. So it helps them with linear, sequential thinking.
Now, Michael, help us understand this. How the heck are kids taught how to write a play, the playwriting part?
Well,
break that down.
First of all, we need to introduce what a play is. And when we say you're going to tell a story, you know, we're going to tell a story that's of interest to you, and they're like, yeah, you know, two guys are walking down the street, and they're having a conversation, and they turn the corner, and then all of a sudden, the building explodes across the way. And we're like, okay, well, this is theater now. And the difference is it's going to be hard to turn the corner. And it's the building exploding, we're going to try to stay away from, like, things where there involve explosions and guns and things like that. But the two guys walking down the street having a conversation, that's a play. What are they talking about? Who are they? What differentiates one from the other?
Deeper.
And they go, oh. See, when kids are brought up in the electronic age, they think really, really quickly. They think in, like, quick flashes.
Get to some sort of
5 seconds here, 10 seconds there.
And there's always some explosion or violence, which is what you stay away from.
And at the end, we have a no guns, no bomb policy. It's just it's easy to blow everybody up at the end or to just solve the problem that way, or that's it. So instead, we make that the policy, and they're like, oh, okay. When we say, when we have these characters, how is one different from the other? Yeah, they're the same age, but are you the same as your peers? And what could they possibly be talking about? How does one speak compared to the other? What's their background? What's their family life like? What did they eat that day? So when a student is involved in the playwriting process, they're actually learning perspective, sequence, and linear thinking. And when we're talking about students who are English language learners, when they're involved in the creative process, you're actually speeding literacy and language learning because they're not thinking about how they use the language, it's their character's use of the language.
So say a student is able to pull that off, learn, grow. Are these plays ever actually performed?
They're published by Samuel French, the play publishing company in the United States, in an anthology every year, 10 plays. I choose 10 plays from the 10 different schools. And then they're performed off-Broadway at the Pearl Theater, 5 plays one night, 5 plays another night. And so...
And these kids there?
They're there with their parents.
What is that like?
The parents are... And their peers, right? So the school is cheering on their playwright.
One of their own.
Right. And we bring playwrights to do, one-on-one sessions with them. We have Broadway Day where they get a chance to run their play in front of a professional panel. We welcome them into the theatrical community.
Why did you get and how did you get involved in this? Got a minute left. Why?
You know, I'm a theater professional for more than 30 years, and it's time to give back. And I desperately wanted to reach the students in this city who come from neighborhoods where they didn't have access to this art form. I'm here to promote and preserve my art form and make sure that it's accessible and available to everybody and allow them to have a voice as well. And I really mean that.
How rewarding?
I'm sorry?
How rewarding?
It is incredibly rewarding. Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Michael Perreca. Perreca. I apologize, an Italian name. I screwed up. My parents will give me hell for that. Artistic Director, Theater Programs, Learning Through an Expanded Arts Program, otherwise known as LEAP. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paisan. Okay. Check you out next time on One-on-One. Thank you.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by NJIT, PSE&G, New Jersey Sharing Network, RWJ Barnabas Health, Johnson & Johnson, Verizon, and by the law firm of Gibbons PC. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Together, we're beating cancer. Together, we're unlocking the mysteries of the brain. Together, we're changing the way healthcare is provided, delivered, and imagined. Welcome to RWJ Barnabas Health, New Jersey's most comprehensive healthcare system, with 41,000 medical professionals serving millions of people throughout New Jersey. So when it comes to your health and wellness, you're never alone. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.